Hello, guys. June 19, Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Also, I just learned that we got the two great pro bodybuilders, legendary Lee Priest and Antoine Vaillant, now on Nabs Gear for Ask Me Anything. Those two guys are just really super interesting to listen. So I hope I'm gonna get some time and listen to their videos because they're both hilarious and obviously very knowledgeable because you don't build that kind of physique if you don't know what you're doing. So let's get on questions. And one that got my attention from 3 days ago, Heat 337. Maybe it's Phil. The question is, what's your macros? Okay, now listen to the rest. My goal is to get bigger. I try to eat clean for the most part, but I struggle to get my calories to bulk anymore. I'm just kind of stuck doing a maintenance anymore. Do you have any suggestion on what to eat for bulk? I'm 5'11", 206, and body fat is probably around 17 or 18%. So when you just read it, don't pay attention, you would just, you know, answer something. But if you really read something in a detail, if you're 5'11 and 206, but you have 18% body fat, the last thing you need is to bulk. And first thing you need is to get leaner. This is how I see it. But as I did talk about this before, that's one of my breads and butters, right? Setting up the diet. And I talk about this over and over again. But for any of you guys that are going to maybe ask a similar question, right? What's your macros? You want to get big, you want to get muscular, but then you talk about the bulk. I talk about this. I never had off season. I never wanted to, gain weight. What I wanted to gain is the muscle mass. So I never believed in off season putting 50, 60 pounds and then getting so much body fat that you're going to have to suffer losing it. Now, as I did mention, Lee Priest, I remember all these advertisements for Muscle Tech, right? That he did when he was a KFC poster child, gaining, I don't know, 100 pounds. So that's not what I suggest, but let's focus on this one, really. How do I do the diets and what would I say for macros for this guy or any guy? I talk about the protein, and you guys know that I'm maybe excessive on protein. Many experts going to tell you, don't listen to me, this is too much. Well, like I said, I average 450 to 550 grams of protein a day for 15 years straight. And that is about 2 grams per pound. And this is what I suggest to all my guys. 1.5 minimum, 2. So if you're 206, that means 300 minimum to 400 grams of protein a day. For sure. Distributed throughout the day, small frequent meals, 50, 60 grams of protein, 70 if you need to, even though people are going to say you can't assimilate more than 30. So what happens if you take 35? I talked about this before, so don't listen to those nonsense people. So what else do you need to calculate? So with 5'11", 206, you didn't say your age, but if you do any BMR, basic metabolic rate calculators, you're going to put height and weight and age and gender. I assume this is a guy. So with these numbers, 5'11", 206, your BMR is about 2,000 calories. If you're like 25 years of age. If you're 35, so 10 years, decade more, I don't know what people expect, but your BMR is only like 100 calories less. Okay, so whichever you belong to, consider that. And then what does BMR means? BMR means basic metabolic rate, only physiological needs of your body. Every organ, every tissue, every system requires some. And if you would be in a state of coma, you would be 2,000 calories a day. Now, when you wake up, right, and you're not in a state of coma, anything that you do throughout the day counts. First, even if you're inactive, your metabolism increases like about 30% over your BMR. So as many waking hours as you have, consider this like about 30% higher. Then when you're really physically active, physical work, today I had a great friend of mine now, and he's my athlete, Gabe Polanic from Canada, that is construction worker. And I mean, doing concrete and all kinds of jobs. I mean, super high physical work. So imagine when I have to do the diet for a guy that is working 8 to 10 hours physical job, and then train, and then do cardio, what you have to account for. But really, so to focus on this one, you take in consideration everybody's now heat 337 guy, what is his caloric expenditure and caloric requirement. Okay, so you take BMR plus any physical activity. It's thermic effect of exercise, feeding, right? So you add that. Cardio, if you do SK cardio, I would highly suggest you do cardio for somebody that's 18% body fat. First thing in the morning, 45 minutes to an hour, yes, every goddamn day until you lose body fat and you get under 10%. I would bulk and try to get you under 10%. And then you consider training. So 1 hour of cardio activity, you can easily calculate as 600 calories, and that's probably underestimated, that you're going to burn. And then training, if you train, aggressively, intensely, like you're supposed to, easily 600-800 or more for a physical activity like weightlifting. Even though if you Google it, I swear, I didn't check this for a while, you're going to see that ironing or cleaning the house supposedly burns more calories than weightlifting. Okay, I believe you. So anyway, your macros. When I was discussing my macros were predominantly protein and carbs, very little fat. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm training with the weights. I need the glucose for fuel, not fat. So I was high on protein, like I said, 450 to 550, and carbs. And if I would train like I did train twice a day, my carbs would be, 5 to 700, sometimes more. And if I would train less or don't train at all, I would reduce that. But everything is about the timing, right? Timing. You give each meal, what you're going to do for the next 3 hours, right? So next 3 hours diet, next three hours diet. If it's increased need for carbs, you give more carbs. If it's not, obviously, don't award yourself with extra carbs, especially, like I said, you're fat. 18% is fat. Don't kid yourself and don't go for a bulk. Now, you're going to say, oh, it's impossible to take 400 grams of protein. Yeah, I was taking 550 for 15 years. It's very possible. Not easy, and especially if you're not big either, and you look at the chicken breast and you don't want to have it, you find protein that you like eating. I always suggest mixing different kinds of protein, from egg whites to chicken to turkey to fish to some kind of seafood, beef, wild game. The more variety, the better. Okay, and you must know that in these proteins there's going to be a lot of hidden fat. So don't think like, oh yeah, I need extra fats. Extra fats, you will need just is the essential fatty acids. Carbs. When you don't need insulin boost, right? You take starchy complex carbs, fibrous carbs. When you do need that, insulin release and high sugars and high energy for a training, that's when you have simple carbohydrates. So to focus on you, my man, Heath 337, the way I would structure your diet would be, okay, when you don't deserve the carbs, you can have the carbs. First, I would calculate your caloric requirement, and then I would deduct like 500 calories. So you would have a calorie restricted and deficient diet. I would get you on that cardio for sure, because cardio is going to burn fat. Beautiful. You're going to be deficient, so you're going to burn some body fat. When you are training, you need your carbs, and this is when we're going to do meal before, intra-workout, and meal after would be with the carbs. How much? I would limit you to only like 300 grams of carbs maximum for meal before, intra, and post-workout. I don't know your intensity of the workouts, but that should be sufficient. Now, when you calculate 300, that's 1,200 calories, 400 grams of protein, preferably over 300, that's 1,600. That's already almost 3,000 calories. So you're there. If you train hard, do some cardio, you're going to need that. So to answer again your question, my macros, majority, 50-50 is protein and carb. I would say 45% and 10% fats. If you can't eat your protein, drink it. I talked about this before. Hunter Labrada, one of the best examples now, top 4 at Mr. Olympia, phenomenal, right? He's drinking most of his protein. So if it's high quality protein powder, believe me, you're gonna get all your essential amino acids and everything that you need, actually even quicker than a diet. And another thing, you're not gonna get any additional fat that is hidden in your salmons and your beef and everything else. So this is what I think would be it. Second question. Milosh, hi. Do you have any advice when it comes to squats and having an anterior pelvic tilt? Anything I should avoid, or auxiliary exercises to assist me in the struggle? Oh, wow. Okay, so let's face it. Majority of the people have that anterior pelvic tilt to the front, right? Your butt is sticking out, your stomach is also sticking out, that kind of thing. Okay, so when you do the squats, if you just asking me for a squats, I would do the front squats, okay, or those zombie squats, preferably. But when you're doing, if you are really after the squats, I would do the high bar, so not low. You're gonna try anything to, tilt back, okay? So if you're doing a free weight barbell squats, that would be my thing. But as you're mentioning ancillary exercises, until you help yourself and improve the situation, I would do the Smith machine with the feet in front, trying to keep that, so instead of the arch, right, butt sticking out, and lower back taking a lot of punishment, you try to take it out. So it's very easy in a Smith machine to have in that same plane. You put the shoulder and the hips in the same plane, so you don't stick out. Because no matter how great you can do your squat, free weight squat, no human can do it in the same plane, right? your hips are going to be sticking out to the lesser or greater degree. With the anterior pelvic tilt is going to be with a greater degree. So one of the things that I love doing before is Smith machine, right? And push your feet forward. Regan Grimes, for example, he says his favorite is Smith machine front squat. And yeah, we did it a few times. I could do the back Smith machine with the feet all the way forward and keeping the back straight. Okay? Hack machine, especially when you put your hips and lower back on the, what do you call it? Not platform, but, you lay down, I don't know this English word, Jesus Christ. My brain is destroyed by the COVID. So you're gonna basically lay down and push your back into it, so it's not gonna be sticking out. I like to keep feet a little bit higher, heels elevated, and then you probably saw me do this countless times and talk about super slow eccentric, super slow concentric. So when you do super slows, okay, you're in control. You're not just pushing the weight, you're using the muscle. It's a major difference from initiating and commanding your quads to do the work, or for your body to do the squats or hack squats or anything. So these would be my choice of your exercises. You can do the V squat, yes, and pendulum, but the whole idea would always be to straighten out your back so you don't have that much of the pelvic tilt. Okay, so next one. Hello, Mira. Sorry if there are two submissions. Oh, maybe it's the same guy. I didn't see the first one. So please ignore any duplicates. I've been watching and studying a lot of your videos about nutrition and training recently, but was wondering if you could touch on what your 2 workouts a day training would look like back in the day. Somebody probably from Instagram, because I get the same question. Whether you train differently depending on your building or the composition phase, and also what would you recommend to clients looking to compete that want to train twice daily, especially for the natural athletes? Thank you. Okay, so you guys heard me answer this question many times. I train 6 days a week, twice a day, so I would have a two daily workouts. I did many times different body parts, but there was also experimentation period when I did the same body part in the morning in a heavy duty style, and the evening with my giant sets and volumization type of training. So, but not necessarily 2 workouts. I like the whole idea of push-pull. Yeah, I like it. Many people do that and then repeat it twice, right? But if I would be doing a push on one day, I could do the chest in the morning and let's say a little bit of triceps, and then delts with a little bit more triceps in the afternoon. The next day I would do the back and biceps. Next day I would do the quads in the morning, hamstring in the afternoon. But really, the best advice I can tell you, there are no rules, okay? Here's the t-shirt with the Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee, right? And what is Bruce Lee known for? Accepting no style as a style, accepting no way as a way. There are no rules, right? So when you try to read too many of those scientific studies, they're done by a pencil necks with some more pencil necks, and then they're telling you what research has shown. Theory is beautiful, but practice is where it's at. So for your 2 workouts a day, yeah, there's no rules. You train twice, you train twice. You can distribute any which way your body parts you want. So whether you differently depending on bodybuilding or a composition. Look, weight training is not for fat burning, right? For fat burning, you're gonna have a deficit in calories and you're gonna do the cardio. Training is train to burn. No. Training is to stimulate the muscle. Okay. So, what would you recommend to clients looking to compete that want to train twice a day, especially for natural athletes? I had that recently video about natural athletes. I had so many natural athletes that train just as hard or harder, more frequent, more intense than loaded pros with the support, pharmacological support. So again, maybe it's not the answer you were looking for. There's no need ever to throw in that natural athlete. You're athlete. And actually, if I would be natural, I would want to catch up with the guys that are taking something and would train harder than them. Okay? I would train one of them. Oh, it's going to be overtraining? No, it's not. You don't undereat and undersleep, you're not going to overtrain. I was recently, I'm grateful for that opportunity. I've been in a UFC Performance Center, and all these UFC guys, okay, they train hours upon hours. I mean, when you want to discuss about human body and physical exertion, there's so many athletes out there that train so much more frequent, so much longer, and they don't even have a nutritional support of the bodybuilders, and they're getting world records and top results. So no need to measure naturals. You train. If you ask me, would I tell a client that is competing to train once a day or twice a day? Twice is better than once, because my trainings are anabolic opportunities. So do I want to anabolize and build my body? Yes. So would two be more than one? That's why I trained twice a day back in the day. And that's why Jay Cutler and many pro bodybuilders, we train that way. Even though there is a notion of that less is more, it's not. It is more is more, always been, always will be. Now, is this more better? Well, you could be better if you do the right thing. So anyway, as you studied my videos about nutrition, you know that no training is effective if you don't have a nutritional support, especially if you have as I talked about before, calculated BMR plus all the other components that is going to determine your caloric requirement. If you time it and have a right macronutrients at the right time, and then you have a pre, during, post supplementation, you can grow indefinitely and you can get any athlete, natural or not, in a top shape. All right, guys, that's it. I have to finish because tomorrow I have to go to LA and do some filming. So happy Father's Day again, and talk to you soon.